and competition in the VUCA world. Today, we'll delve into the significance of adopting a win-win mindset, understanding the intricacies of negotiation techniques, and embracing flexibility and adaptability in the face of uncertainty. By mastering the art of negotiation in the VUCA world, organizations can seize opportunities that arise amidst turbulence, forge strategic alliances, cultivate sustainable success. Together, let us embark on a journey to discover how negotiation can be a transformative force, enabling us to thrive amidst the environment. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Today, I, Monica Bish, on the behalf of the Narsidas Institute of Professional Studies, extend a very warm welcome to the panel discussion on capitalizing through negotiation strategies to thrive in the VUCA world. Today, we have amongst us eminent personalities from corporate and academia to grace the event. As someone very wisely said, the first step to knowledge is to listen, then to be quiet and attentive, then to preserve it and put it into practice, and then to spread it. To start the event, we, on an auspicious note, may I request our technical team to play Saraswati Vandanam.
Turn on the mic.
I, Soumya, student of Banarsidas Shandiwala Institute of Professional Studies, profoundly delighted to welcome the very eminent dignitaries who have honored us with their presence today. We have with us Ms. Shikha Datta, Regulatory and Public Policy Organization Renew Power, Ms. Pooja Bhatia from Global L&D Fidelity International, and Ms. Tanvi Ghelot, HR India Today Group, New Delhi. We are grateful to our distinguished guests for accepting our invitation and thank you for joining us and gracing the event. This event has been made possible with the guidance and blessings of our Vice Chairman, Sri Vipul Gupta sir. We are also honored to have Director DCIPS Dr. Aparna Ma'am with us today. Now we'll start with our technical section 1 of panel discussion. I would like to invite our first guest, Ms. Shikha Datta, who is a science graduate and have done her MBA in marketing and HR. She is currently working as Manager Regulatory and Public Policy at the Renew Power, India's largest renewable energy company. She is handling strategic policy and regulatory issues pertaining to various ministries with regular engagements with the industry and government to reduce the carbon footprint. With more than 8 years of work experience, her areas of expertise include public policy, advocacy, government affairs, communication, corporate affairs, business development, and marketing. So over to you, Shikhama.
Yeah, good morning, everyone. Just sharing my presentation. And thanks a lot to all my teachers and fellow students for inviting me for sharing my views on this topic of VUCA world. And I feel very pleasure to being in front of my teachers right now and being, provided with such opportunity. So just a minute, just sharing my presentation with you. Is it visible?
No, ma'am, not still visible.
Just shared it. I don't know why it's not visible. Is it visible now? Yes, it's visible. Oh, okay. Yeah. So let me take it forward now. I don't want to waste anyone's time. So basically, today I would like to, give my point of view on the strategies to thrive in this VUCA world. So I will just start with explaining you all about the VUCA world. What is VUCA and how the businesses are getting impacted by this. So basically, if you obviously you all are graduate and postgraduate students with us, so you must have some basic about idea about the VUCA. So it's about it's the full form is volatile, being volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous. So I will just explain you how it works in the business environment. So basically, all these words, or you can say a nomenclature, what they refers to, I will explain you. Volatility refers to the rapid and unpredictable changes that occur in the business environment. And uncertainty arises from the lack of predictability and the inability to forecast future events. Complexity refers to the interconnectedness of different factors that influence business decisions, and ambiguity is the lack of clarity and the presence of multiple interpretations. So, to navigate the VUCA world, businesses need to be agile, adaptable, and innovative. Negotiations can help business capitalize on opportunities and mitigate risk in this environment. So, today I will explain you on what are the strategies that usually companies or businesses follow, or if they will follow in future, maybe they can progress more well. So first of all, I will start with preparing for negotiations in a VUCA world. So effective negotiation requires preparation, of course, because without preparation, you cannot excel in anything. So before entering into a negotiation, it is important to understand your own goals and priorities. So basically, it's for company or as well as an individual. Researching the other party's interests, needs, and constraints can give you an advantage in the negotiation. It is also important to anticipate roadblocks and develop strategies to overcome them. Now, I will present strategies so that we can combat the situation in this VUCA world. First strategy is building relationships and collaboration. Negotiation is not just about getting the best deal possible. It is also building long-term relationship that can lead to future opportunities, and also build a rapport and trust between company to company, and also between, you can say, B2C, business to consumer, as well as B2G, business to government as well. So it is important to listen actively to the other party's concern and needs. This can help build understanding and create solutions that meet both parties' interest. So here I would support my strategy with one example. of this Apple and Samsung case. So it happened in 2011. So there was a patent dispute between both the companies when uh, uh, Apple accused Samsung on infringing on its design and utility patents related to smartphones and tablets. So lawsuits were filed in various countries, leading to a legal battle between both the companies. So I will just let you know what are the procedure that they have followed related to this strategy. First, they tried to settle this through negotiation. So both initially engaged in negotiation to resolve this issue, and after that, it didn't work out that much. So they get into this mediation efforts, where in 2012, court ordered them to do mediation, and both the CEOs participated in this, and US federal judge also was there, encouraging them for a settlement. Then they got into the settlement agreement in 2014, and then also apart from all this, their continued collaboration was going on despite all this issues. And in the end, so there was an agreement between them, uh, resolving their case. So that is a kind of example that the companies that are coming up in the future or the startups should follow. Now, let us come to the other strategy, that is information gathering and analysis. Basically, this strategy works on market research to understand customer needs and preferences, and also competitive intelligence to get insights into the competitor strategy, also customers' preferences, as well as risk assessment to identify potential risks, and leveraging real-time information for timely adjustments. So here also I want to support my with the strategy with an example. So right now in current scenario, I can give example of Netflix. Obviously, all the students and also all my fellow teachers and professors must be browsing this Netflix. So here's a good example of Netflix that the data driven, they have actually worked on data driven negotiations that help them in securing content and competitive prices. That's how, like, I will explain you. That helps them in understanding market demand. So Netflix leverages its extensive viewership data and analytics to gain insight into audience preferences, viewing habits, and trending content. This data helps Netflix understand the market demand for specific types of content, allowing them to identify valuable content that will resonate with their subscribers. And also, this strategy helps them to demonstrating value to content providers. Obviously, they use this strategy and utilize its viewership data to showcase the potential audience reach and engagement for content. And this also helps them in predicting their ROI, that is return on investment. So by analyzing this data, they can estimate the potential return on investment for acquiring specific content, and this also allows them to make data-driven financial evaluations, which was actually a quite a big thing for them, because that can help them to lead in the market. Now, the next strategy is flexibility and adaptability. So, in this VUCA world, business needs to be very much flexible and adaptable to survive. This means having the ability to quickly pivot and adjust strategies based on changing market conditions or unexpected events. So one strategy for achieving this is to invest in technology. Of course, if you all understand that if you don't go with the technology, then you will be laid back. Of course, you have to follow the new trends in technology. Otherwise, you will not be running in the race. So this is how we can be flexible and adaptable to the changes. Another key strategy for this is to foster culture of continuous learning and development. L&D is, if you can see in this era, the companies is specifically having their learning and development department. So because they have to be in the race, and have to match up the values, that's why. So this means encouraging employers to take risks, experiment with new ideas, learn from failures. By creating a safe space for experimentation and innovation, businesses can stay ahead of the curve and adapt to changing circumstances more effectively. Here also, I have one example so that you will get to know about the strategy in depth. So here, Amazon. Everyone uses Amazon. Even even a simple person who knows a little bit about technology also uses Amazon. So what Amazon has done is has remarkably adapt to the changes in supply chain disruptions and consumer demands. So here I will explain. So they have adopted robust supply chain infrastructure because their supply chain is quite strong. If you can see, Amazon has built a highly sophisticated and resilient supply chain infrastructure that includes a vast network of fulfillment centers, distribution centers, and transportation system. So this infrastructure enables Amazon to quickly adapt to changes in demand and efficiently manage inventory across its global operations. Uh, and supplier relationship. It has maintained a strong relationship with diverse range of suppliers worldwide. And the other point is fulfillment flexibility. Amazon offers various fulfillment options, including Fulfilled by Amazon FBA, Seller Fulfilled Prime, and Amazon Flex. Now let's come to the another strategy, that is risk management and contingency planning. In today's business environment, uh, there are certain situations that comes up that require businesses to be agile and responsive. Risk management and contingency planning play a vital role in helping organizations navigate through these challenges. Risk management involves identifying, assessing, and mitigating potential risk, while contingency planning focuses on developing alternative strategies to deal with unexpected events. Effective risk management and contingency planning require proactive approach and a deep understanding of the organization operations, stakeholders, and external environment. So let me support this strategy by another example of Tesla. You all must be knowing about the Tesla as well. So it's also big in the industry and specifically. So Tesla's negotiation, what Tesla has done, it has done negotiation with local government for factory and factory locations, which involved a multifaceted approach that involves seeking economic incentives, applying through the such incentives of the government, highlighting job creation and emphasizing environmental commitments, negotiating infrastructure development. So these negotiations enable Tesla to secure favorable conditions and support for its factory investment, facilitating its expansion and production capabilities. Now, let us come to the last strategy that I have included in my presentation, that is ethical negotiations and long-term value. So, ethical negotiations and the focus on long-term value are critical strategies for success in this VUCA world. So ethical negotiations prioritize transparency, honesty, and fairness in the business. They involve considering the interest of all the parties involved and seeking mutually beneficial outcomes. Whereas long-term value emphasizes sustainable outcomes over short-term gain. It involves considering the broader impact of decision on all stakeholders involved. So here also I want to support my strategy with the example of Hindustan Unilever. This is also a big brand that everyone knows about it. We use it in our day-to-day life. So Unilever's commitment to ethical practices and sustainable sourcing reflects its recognition of the importance of responsible business conduct. So how it does sustainable sourcing means basically they try to source their raw materials sustainably through the sustainable practices that doesn't impact the environment. So basically, that doesn't impact the renewable energy and the sources. And they work closely with suppliers, farmers, and other stakeholders to ensure responsible sourcing practices. And also, they use ethical supply chains. They are, like known for upholding high ethical standards throughout its supply chain. They have implemented robust processes to ensure suppliers comply with the code of business principles, which covers areas such as human rights, labor standards, and responsible sourcing. As you all know, even everyone must have heard about this G20 summit because the government is promoting, and this year India got the presidency of G20 summit, and even Indian government is promoting at a very high level of to securing our renewable resources. So basically, in right now I am working in Renew Power. So Renew here also I can give the example of Renew because their practices are quite sustainable and that doesn't impact to the environment, and basically they are reducing the carbon footprint. So they can also be a example of this strategy. Now I would like to conclude myself. Sorry. So negotiations can be a powerful tool to capitalize on opportunities and mitigate risks in the VUCA world. So by understanding the VUCA environment, preparing for negotiations, and using collaborative or competitive negotiation strategies, businesses can thrive in this uncertain world. So, so I have actually shared all the strategies with you. That is not actually for companies, but as well as for an individual also, if you want to grow up in your career, and as well as if you are planning to start your own firm, or maybe you want to do your own startup. So these strategies will help you along in a long run. Thanks a lot. So I would like to end up my discussion.
Thank you very much, ma'am, for sharing your experience and expertise with us. We certainly have had some very stimulating and intriguing thoughts. Now, I would like to invite Ms. Pooja Bhatia. She is the Global Head of Learning and Development Function for Technology and Digital Teams at Fidelity International and has over 15 years of experience in the field of learning and development. Currently, she is working on building and strengthening L&D capability globally, and she is focusing on defining and implementing the L&D strategies for technology and digital teams. So over to you, Pooja ma'am.
Ma'am, we are trying to give you the rights for sharing the PPT. Pooja ma'am, may we know with what name are you there on this in this meeting? Because we are not able to locate your name. I think Pooja ma'am has not joined, so we'll just wait for 1 minute. Pooja ma'am, we are not able to locate you yet. Yes. Now, ma'am, we have shared all the rights with you. Now you can share your PPT and enable your mic also. Yeah.
Can you
Hello, ma'am.
hear me?
You're audible now.
All right.
Yes, ma'am.
Wonderful. 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 Thank you, Pooja. Thank you very much for having me here.
Sorry
It's
for
a
the
lovely.
delay, ma'am. Yeah, sorry.
That's absolutely all right. And I'm sure if you ask in a crowd who is a Pooja here. There are so many Poojas, including you, right? So it gets difficult to figure out who's the one that you're looking for. But anyways, it's lovely to be here. And thank you for the introduction. I work for Fidelity International, which is a well-known brand in financial industry. And I would like to share my wisdom or knowledge that I've collated across these years. I'm sitting in this in the office right now in a very, very ambiguous environment where it's a VUCA world, right? Up until last 3 years, we would be very, very regular to the offices. Now we choose when do we want to go to office. So that's a very, very ambiguous word. But on a Friday, I'm sitting in the office, which is a very, very different, it's a change for me. So first of all, thank you for having me. Thank you all the lecturers, teachers, professors, everyone. And thank you to the students for having me here. The topic that I am to present, it is around VUCA world. It's around how do you succeed in the VUCA world. And my fellow speaker earlier, Shikha, she spoke so very well, taking a lot of examples. So I'm going to almost weave the same story, but hopefully trying to also give a bit of my personalized flavor to it. So let's begin with it. Okay. What I will do is I will share my screen and let me know if you're able to see it. Yeah. Can you see?
Yes, yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right. Wonderful. Wonderful. So I would not start talking immediately, but I would want all of you to participate. So I have something for you. Let's see. Who all recognize these two? I can't see people reacting, responding, but I'm just, I don't know, Pooja, can we look at, I don't know who's managing this, so I'm just referring to Pooja. But can we see if people can react, respond, say yes, nod, etc.?
No, no,
We
ma'am.
can't.
They
We
cannot.
can't.
No.
That's fine. That's all right. But I'm
Only
hoping...
only some people can react.
Okay. Okay. All right. That's fair enough.
Or shall I make the reaction possible?
Yeah. That's fine too. I think there are people who are raising their hands. I can see. So that's all right. I'm assuming that people know them.
Yeah.
Is it okay? Yeah, there are a couple of people raising their hands, so I'm assuming everybody knows them. And why are these personalities so popular? Was my another question, but I understand people can't talk, people can't speak. I will give you an opportunity to still participate in some time. So there is a story which all of you have to listen carefully, because immediately after the story, I will ask you a small quiz, okay? It's not going to be added in your college grades, of course, but it's a small quiz after this one. So everyone probably would know about the dot-com boom in 1990s, when computers were getting popular, electronic, all the personalized computers and everything else, it was coming to life. Everyone was getting attracted to what's happening in the world. The world was changing really. And that's when the co-founder of Apple, which is those who can speak, I would love to hear those who can speak. Steve Jobs and the co-founder of Microsoft, Bill Gates. They were really ruling the world, right? In their own spaces. Of course, during their journey, they established their own identities and they became iconic in the world, right? And the competition, of course, similar industry, they both were strong rivalries of each other because of all the known reasons. Come 1997, when Steve Jobs started to understand that due to the fierce competition in the market, due to Bill Gates' strategy to acquire wider market segment, and a lot of it Apple was seeing a decline, a very, very strong decline in the market partnership, and it was almost at the verge of being declared as bankrupt. And that's when Steve Jobs gave it a thought where he thought of having a strategic alliance with Bill Gates, keeping aside all rivalries, keeping aside all tensions in between these two giants, and thought of a very, very strategic partnership, not to benefit Apple, but also to benefit Microsoft, which means it was a win-win partnership that he was looking for. And leaving aside all egos, etc., he approached Bill Gates. And of course, rest is a history. They came together, and they came together for much wider purpose, where Microsoft started to offer MS Office as an application for their Macintosh platforms. If you've not read the story, it's very, very popular. Please go back and spend some time reading it. But what happened after that? What was the gain that Gates had, or what was the gain that Steve Jobs could get after this alliance? So Steve Jobs, of course, had a very win-win situation, because through Gates, they were able to offer MS Office, which was anyways a very, very popular whole Microsoft suite on their platforms. And Gates, through Steve Jobs, were able to widen their offerings to wider platforms. And then later on, it gave opportunity for Steve Jobs to start to offer products which we all probably will have or will have our eyes on it, including iPads, iPhones, and a lot of it, right? So what happened? What are the lessons learned is really that the strategic alliance, despite the rivalries, they were able to come out of a very difficult situation in a very, very positive way, which helped both the giants, right? So here I will take a pit stop, and what I would want you to do is either scan the QR code that you see on the screen, or go on the menti.com site, which is there. I'm sure we all have smartphones, whether an iPhone or a normal Android. Please go to the site and enter the code, or simply scan the QR code. I have a quick quiz for everyone. So the quiz is, what are the qualities that led to the success you observed in the story? And as you start to respond, all your responses will start to appear on the screen. I'm guessing everybody is able to access. This is an open platform. I see a couple of people coming onto Menti. Very good. The knowledge, speciality, experience. Come on, we need more responses. I see more people coming on the platform. Others, keep adding. Keep adding. What did you observe in the story? What is the success mantra behind the story? We talked about strategic alliance. We talked about looking at others' benefits, mutual relationships. Yeah, their experience. They were very focused. They were hardworking, of course. Yes. Few more seconds. Few more seconds. You can still scan the code. There you go. More responses coming in, ideas. Teaming up, clarity of purpose. Wonderful. I love it. Love it. Okay. All right. So I'll go back. I'll go back now and take a quick look around what you all have said, a bit of summary. So how do you succeed? And I know that my fellow speaker in the previous session talked about VUCA. I'm going to nudge you on that as well in a while. But how do you succeed when things are a little haywire, when things are unknown? How do you prepare for your success? So it is important that you understand what are you trying to establish? What are you trying to do? What is your objective? It has to be very, very clear. You can't just go without any direction, without any purpose. Having a goal is absolutely important. Once you have a goal, then you start preparing towards that goal, whether it's doing some research, whether it is talking to people, whether it is going through a course, etc., etc. So all of that forms a very, very solid foundation for your being successful. Having effective communication is another solid foundation for you to be successful. So unless you are able to communicate the purpose that you have defined already in the previous step, it will be difficult for you to bring people along on the journey. So unless you are able to tell them that what you're trying to do is how it is going to help others, it will be difficult for you to carry on. Because ultimately, the journey is not only for you, the journey is for other people and with other people. Then, another important step is that you should know how to solve a problem creatively. Sorry for the spelling mistake on the slide, but yes, it is very, very important step that you need to understand that there is a problem. So Steve Jobs faced a problem, but of course, if you continue to think of a problem, you will not be able to solve it creatively. And of course, he would not have been able to solve it individually. For that, he had to speak to people. He had to build trust with his rivalry, right? It was a very, very difficult stage. Everybody in the industry questioned. But unless he would have taken that step, they would not have seen the success, which is now very, very proven in the industry. So building the trust, talking to your network, preparing for what you're trying to do, defining your goal very, very clearly, and of course, being able to communicate your purpose very, very clearly are some of the strategies to succeed. Now, I have another quiz for you. So let's go back to the Mentimeter once again. And let me Can you all see the next question? So what does VUCA stands for? Very quickly, it was covered by Ms. Shikha. I'm sure that you still remember it. It is a quiz for you. Very quickly, who all remember VUCA? What is the full form? VUCA. What is the full form? Quickly. I need some responses here. Everyone. So V is volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguity. I think there are people responding, but I somehow can't see, but I'm hoping that you're responding the right full form. There are a couple of people responding. So volatile. Yeah, some more answers on the screen. Complex, uncertain, and ambiguous. Okay, all right. So I'll go back. Now, when we know this world is a VUCA world and it's such a popular world, I'm sure that you know by heart it by now, but then how do we create opportunities for ourselves in this current world? I belong to learning and development profession. I've been a L&D person all throughout my career. And what I see, and I work for a tech organization, what I see is that the world has always been so uncertain. It's just that the intensity of uncertainty has increased. But at the same time, what will be really useful? You guys are still in college. You will start to look out for building your career outside of your college very soon. So what will help? What we very commonly talk in our organization is to build the growth mindset. Not sure how many of you have heard of this word, but again, it's gaining a lot of popularity Everybody would use this word in their talk, in the conversations, etc., etc. So, what is having a growth mindset? Having a growth mindset is really preparing ourselves to adopt to a changing situation in which we are not very comfortable. Change definitely is not comfortable all the time. Change can be very difficult, very harsh. And today's world, we are saying it's all about change, right? So how do we prepare ourselves for the change? How do we continue to have the growth mindset? That can only happen if we continue to look at agility. Agility in dictionary form is being very flexible. And I'm not going to dwell deeper on all of these terms because, again, some of these were covered in the last presentation. But it's almost giving you a bit of refresh with some example that being flexible, right, is a great way to continue to have a growth mindset. If I go back, let's say 20 years ago, when computers, or 30 years ago maybe, when computers were being introduced, if at that time a lot of people would have thought that, oh my God, I will lose my job. And even today, when we talk about chat GPTs and generative AI, I'm sure that you are all well versed off with. If I think of that AI will take my job, I will lose it, right? Anyways. But if I think of AI as how will it help me build opportunities, I will thrive. I will thrive in the changing environment. And that's why agility and adaptability is extremely important. Yesterday, we had a town hall, employees town hall, and there was a question raised by an employee that shall we look at pace over perfection? What is the right thing? And I think the answer that we all said that it is the fine balance. It is the delicate balance between pace over perfection, and hence the second component that you see on the slide, which is on risk management. So while we make ourselves comfortable in the changing environment or prepare for the changing environment, we should also prepare ourselves for any potential risk. So it's always very, very useful to have a informed decision. Yeah. And that's why I go back to what I earlier said, having goal, a clarity on goal. What are you trying to do? What is your purpose is extremely, extremely important. You think of your purpose, you think of all the potential risks involved, and that will kind of help you move forward safely and have pace at the same time, perfection. Collaboration and networking in today's world, people who work in silos is very, very difficult. Gone are the days when you are expected to be a master in a particular skill set and not knowing the rest of the world. It doesn't work like that, at least the way I see things moving. So recently, I've seen a very, very big change happened in our organization where two big functions are merged together. So technology and operations, two very different functions, have been brought together. It is such a massive change. I don't know how many of you can imagine, but it is such a shaky change where we are saying people who are in operations who don't know any knowledge about technology are being asked to develop technology skill set. People who are in technology, who come from very, very technology background, are being asked to understand the financial world of it. It is such a massive change. And hence, what we are suggesting people or recommending people that collaborate, come together, in smaller teams, try to understand each other, try to understand each other's processes, and hence establish your knowledge. And hence, collaboration and networking will go very, very strong in next, whatever foreseen future that you will see. And then being resilient. All of these, while you may feel that by adopting or having all of these qualities, you will succeed, but hey, you may fail as well. And that's all about being resilient. So when you face challenges in this world, when you face disappointments, when you face denials, it is important to still keep your head high. It is still important to continue to think of the positives. It is still important to continue to think of how do you create opportunities for yourself and continue to survive in this world. And I'm sure by having all of this, you will definitely succeed. So that's where I would want to leave. And the last message that we as an organization are very, very strongly passing to all the colleagues, all the employees is about having a growth mindset. And I talked about what growth mindset is really. So I'll not go again on this, but yeah, that's where I would want to stop talking. And I don't know if there is if we are looking to ask questions, take questions from people, but I'll stop sharing my screen. And once again, thank you for having me here.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for enriching us with your experience and knowledge.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Yeah, now we're waiting for our third guest. Just give us 2 minutes. We'll come back.
Okay, so due to some unavoidable circumstances, our third speaker is not able to join. So we'll be moving forward. Now the session is open for audience questions. We all are requested to put your question in the chat box along with the panelist name to whom you want to ask the question, and we would be taking them up. I would invite Ms. Pooja Yadav ma'am to take over the question answer session and put forward the participant queries to our esteemed dignitary.
Am I audible now? Good afternoon, all. Am I audible now? Am I audible?
You are audible, Pooja.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. We're so sorry for the delay. We had some internet issue, so because of which we all got disconnected. So now starting with the question and answer session, I request all the participants, those who are interested in asking some questions, they can put their questions in the chat box and I'll be taking those questions one by one.
क्या करेगा स्वाद करेगा क्या करेगा स्वाद करेगा दीदी तो दीदी तो लिमिट में रहे
Okay, by the time we have some questions in the chat box, ma'am, I would like to ask a question. Shikha ma'am, this question is to you. I hope I'm audible.
Yeah, ma'am, you're audible.
Yeah.
Ma'am,
Yeah.
you should
Shikha
not say
ma'am,
ma'am. You are
no. Right now you are a guest speaker. Yeah, I do remember, but right now you are the guest speaker. Fine. So, ma'am, in this volatile world, if we, as said by the other speaker, that if we want to work in isolation, it's not possible. So, when we are working in teams, it happens a number of times that we disagree with each other, the working style and the opinions. So, how to handle such situations? Because everyone wants to win.
Yeah.
So how can we deal with that? Some tips for that?
Yeah, sure. So, are you asking me as a team leader handling the team, or
Uh, as a co-worker.
okay? So obviously, conflict of thinking always occurs, and conflict of that matters a person to person. So that's totally fine. That actually seems to be a healthy kind of thing that industry takes it like that. So obviously, if you have different you can say different opinions, so that actually helps the business to grow, because obviously company takes it in a positive manner, because somebody's opinion can in a certain way can work for the company, and maybe but that is a different opinion that doesn't see going with the team's opinion. So maybe you can take it in a positive way, and of course, if there's a difference of opinion, that is being encouraged these days by the company. So you have to actually support your opinion with a strong, you can say with a strong uh, example, or with a strong situation analysis.
Thank you so much, ma'am. That was a wonderful response. Now we have some questions in the chat box. This question is for Pooja ma'am. That sometimes, in spite of of following the best negotiation strategies, we still have to compromise. So how can we handle such situations? This question is for Pooja ma'am. Pooja ma'am, are you there? I think she also got disconnected. Shikha ma'am, would you like to answer this question?
Yeah. So can you please repeat it again?
Yeah, sure, ma'am. Now, before repeating, I'll have a small request to all the participants. We have shared a feedback form link on the chat box. You can put your feedbacks on that. Yes, ma'am. I'll repeat the question. The question says that sometimes, in spite of following the best negotiation strategies, we still have to compromise. Then, how can we handle such situations?
Yeah. See, of course, success and failure is part of life. So it's like, you know, of course, following the best route or maybe the best strategy, companies do fail. And, after failing and they learn from their mistake and then they improve and improvise themselves. So it's not like that you can be best in everything, but yeah, you have to try. It's like trial and run method. So you have to try certain strategy. If that works for your company, if it doesn't, then maybe you can follow some new strategy. So you have to do in-depth research about it. Do like I have mentioned about data analysis, going with the technology, and being upgraded in this business environment is really important. So it's not like that if some strategy is not working with you, so you should try some other route or some other method. So there are a lot of examples in the current scenario that like you can follow certain examples and maybe that can work for you. There are a lot of startups coming up these days and they're following different strategies, and sometimes they get failed also, because you must have heard about a lot of startups coming up, like for example Food Panda. If you've heard about Food Panda, so they when they just initiated their business and when they started their, so they have started giving some freebies and such kind of things. So for some time that models worked for them, that strategy worked for them. But after a certain point of time, that strategy failed because they were that time turned into losses for the company. So and that business then they were not doing well at that point of time. So that strategy initially worked for them, but after some time they like suddenly just understand like that strategy is not working for them. So basically you have to, it's a hit and trial method, so you have to trial out strategies and you work accordingly with the situation.
Thank you
I
so
just
much,
rest my
ma'am. So the
case.
key is what I've understood. You should keep on trying that rather than
Yeah,
giving it up.
giving up, yeah. And also actually
Yeah.
learning from
Thank you so
the
much, ma'am.
situations.
Yeah. Thank you so much, ma'am. Now Pooja ma'am is back. So shall we go with the questions, ma'am?
Yes, please. Sorry. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, okay. So, ma'am, the question for you: what is the key strategy for dealing with in this VUCA world, as far as the negotiations are concerned? Guru mantra.
I think what has worked for me over the last years is talking to people, is networking. That is very, very important. It gives you a strong connect with people. People get to know outside of what you do. You also get to understand what are they doing, what are the opportunities that you can have or you can build in partnership with both you and them, including in the partnership. You can also think of how can you create a mutually successful relationship. So knowing people, networking is extremely, extremely important for me. So that is my guru mantra.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Thank you so much. Yeah. Thank you so much, ma'am, for the answer. Ma'am, the last question to Pooja, ma'am. Ma'am, this question says, how to react when the supervisor gives a negative feedback on your working style?
Um, okay, very, very difficult, but I think it is very important for, couple of things. The feedback should not be surprises, in my view. Okay. And it is not your supervisor's responsibility always to provide you feedback. And that's why what I suggest, even to my team and in the organization, that we should have a monthly conversation on how you are performing. Okay. The working meetings are fine, which will keep happening every now and then. But when do we focus on you, understanding your goals, helping your goals in your goals, understanding how are you performing, and giving you a periodic feedback. So those surprise negative feedback may become very, very low in numbers, low chances on that. if you're having those regular conversations month on month or at a certain frequency, I would believe having negative or surprise feedback is what I will say will be very, very low chances, right? The second thing is, I would say it is equally your responsibility and your manager's responsibility to engage. So don't expect your manager to come to you and give feedback. You can equally say that, I would want to have feedback, right? It gives you more power. It makes you feel empowered that you are interested in understanding the opportunities that you may have. Okay. And it puts a bit of pressure on your manager so that they also come prepared and they are not just giving you any surprise out of nowhere. So, regular conversations, set up a goal, and be equally responsible for your feedback and for your development. I think that is very, very important anyways, and that's the second ask of it. In any which case, if your manager is still giving you some negative feedback which you did not expect, despite your um, effort around setting up a regular conversation, engaging with your manager in regular feedback, etc., I think be firm. Okay, don't get aggressive, don't take it negatively also, but be firm. We need not be passive also, we need not be aggressive also, we need to be assertive. Okay. And by that I mean that don't show that you are getting disturbed by it, but asking the right question is so important. So if you get a negative feedback, maybe you can just say, sorry, but I did not understand, why do you say that, can you quote an example? Or you can say that, oh, I did not realize during our last conversation this did not come up, I'm very, very surprised. So show them your genuine reaction instead of responding aggressively or passively on it. Neither take it saying that, sorry, I understood, I will work on it, nor being aggressive about it, but just be curious why they are saying what they are saying, is what I will say. So, two things: be responsible for your own feedback, and two, be assertive.
Yeah. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Okay, Pooja, I want to
So,
ask a question
yeah.
from you on your topic.
Sure.
How do you maximize your leadership impact in an VUCA world?
Yeah, and I'll keep giving examples from my own experiences, right? I talked about the transformation that our organization is seeing at the moment, right? So technology world is being merged with ops, or we can say vice versa. It is a massive change where uh, technology, the skills that we have, right? These skill set people, they are asked to understand operations and the business. And similarly, the operations people are asked to understand technology skill set. It is such a massive change, right? Now, even if you look at my role, right, I'm learning and development, and my core profile is to train people on technology. It is a change for me. But either I take this opportunity or I leave it on people to decide that what my role would be in future. So what I would suggest is that take that first step, engage with people, explore opportunities, offer what you have, engage in positive conversations where you say, I see change as very positive. I see a lot of growth opportunities coming my way, and not feel being threatened by it. That will be my advice. But participate in that change. Change may go positive for some, but may not be so positive for some. But be that leader in having those conversations, in telling everyone that you are part of the change. You want to be part of the change, and you would want to support this change for others. So that's what I will say.
Thank you, Pooja. Thank you very much.
No problem at all.
s- yeah. Thank you so much, ma'am. So, to end with this session, I would like to thank our both the guests, Ms. Shikha and Ms. Pooja, for their insights on the topic and handling the queries in a wonderful manner. Yeah, thank you so much, ma'am. Now I'll hand over to Soumya again. Soumya.
Thank you for having us here.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Now I'm going to call Shivani Sharma, ma'am, to give a valedictory note.
Hello.
Am I audible to all? Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much, our wonderful speakers, Shikha Madam and Pooja Madam. It was indeed a pleasure to hear you today. And I would like to start by saying that Ms. Shikha Datta, heading the technical session 1, wherein she was to talk about strategies to teach win-win solutions through negotiation, has given us some very valuable insights on the strategies. She emphasized on the fact that yes, building relationships and collaboration is very crucial to survive in this VUCA world through negotiations. She also emphasized that information gathering and analysis and how flexibility and adaptability on part of the organizations can be a crucial factor. Our emphasis on the risk management and contingency planning was indeed a good point to talk about, and the ethical negotiations and long-term value. Again, this was one of the strategies she emphasized on. Ms. Pooja Bhatia, the heading technical session 2, talked about how one can succeed in this ever-changing VUCA world. She emphasized on that yes, building trust is a very important factor. How creative problem solving can be very useful to succeed in the VUCA world. She talked about the importance of communication and how preparedness on part of the organization plays a crucial role. Uh, she also talked about how resilience and risk management on part of organization is an important factor in thriving on this VUCA world. So thank you, both the speakers today. It was indeed very insightful to have a conversation with you. Thank you so much.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Now I will request everyone to please fill the feedback form. And may I now request Dr. Suniti Chandiok, ma'am, to please present the vote of thanks.
Thank you, Soumya. Thank you very much. Distinguished guest of the day, Ms. Shikha Datta, Manager Regulatory Public Policy, Renew Power, Ms. Pooja Bhatia, Global Learning and Development Lead, Fatality International, and Ms. Tanvi Gehlot, HR, India Today Group. So, dignitaries, participants, organizing committee, faculty and staff of the Institute, I feel honored to privilege a vote of thanks on a great occasion. On behalf of the BCIFS family, I extend our sincere thanks for gracing the event and sharing your valuable vision, input, and expertise and experience with us. We are honored to have the presence of Ms. Shikha Datta, Pooja Bhatia ma'am. Thank you to all for gracing the event and making the event successful. We sincerely hope that our audience today would have benefited immensely to get the opportunity to listen and interact with our illustrative speakers who being engaged or learn more from such in the future events. I thanks our Honorable Vice Chairman Shri Vipul Gupta sir, respected Director Dr. Aparna Mishra for her able continuous guidance and support in organizing this event. I thanks all the participants for participating in this event and make it successful. I thanks our organizing committee member, Ms. Pooja ma'am, Ms. Shivani ma'am, and our faculty members, staff, and students. Without their support, it was not possible to organize this event. At the last but not at the least, I thanks my student committee member, Tarandeep, Satik, Monica, Soumya, Harman, Shiv, Ishita, Simriddhi, Varsha, and others. To conclude at the last, I again repeat that without you all, we will never have the courage to make it happen. So thank you very much and thanks a lot. Over to Soumya.
Thank you, ma'am. Before we wrap up, I'd like to express my gratitude to all the eminent personalities, respected teachers, and all the dear students. Their support has made this informative session possible. I hope everyone will take something valuable from this session and make the best use out of it. And we will keep on conducting such informative seminars. So please look forward to more. Thank you and have an amazing day.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you, ma'am.
Right. Software. Software. Stop.